Hey guys, Barry from Coffee vs Glass here, and today I'm going to be looking at something pretty cool which I've done on my Mac, and that is, first of all, I've installed Windows. Now you think, well, why should I do that on my Mac? Because OS 10 is pretty awesome, but I'm doing this for a very specific reason. Now you may have heard online that the new Half-Life Steam mod called Black Mesa has been released, which is essentially a free Steam game that essentially reenacts and rebuilds the original Half-Life game in its new glorified graphics engine, and looks pretty awesome and supposedly plays very well. So I've installed Windows pretty much for the only reason to do this and to show you guys how good it looks and to show you what a good experience it is. But I've also combined it with something different. You may notice that there's a cable coming out of my Mac just here. And what is this cable plugged into? It's actually plugged into this. An Xbox 360 controller for Windows. Now it is the Windows version, you can only pretty much use this controller with it, or the wireless version, and it has to be a specific Windows one, not just your own generic Xbox controller you have already. So I did buy this especially. The first thing we're going to want to do is, when you get your controller, you'll get some software with it which you will install just to make sure that everything works properly. It's just a simple driver, and you've got this little window here that just says, you know, your connection is successful and you've got a controller connected. Next, you're going to want to go ahead and open up Steam. Now Steam, of course, is just a platform for getting games and things like that digitally to your computer, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to open up Black Mesa. Now I have been playing this game for a while, so I'm going to actually just pick a previous save that I can go to show you guys what it looks like, and we'll have a look at what it's like. Now the cool thing about using the Xbox controller of this, of course, is that you've got full controllability, almost as if it was a console, but we're playing it on a Mac running Windows. So I've got three things going on here. I'm running a Mac on Windows, I'm running Half-Life, and I'm running an Xbox controller, so three pretty different experiences we're going to be looking at here. So I'm just going to make sure that the sound is turned down a little bit on here. Now I should preface this by saying this is a mid-2010 MacBook Pro here that I've got, so it's not amazingly spec'd and it's not amazing for games, but you'll see in a second that it can actually run this pretty well. I'll go into the settings and just kind of show you what I've got set up so you can have a look. You're just looking at loading times here, and it is taking a while to load, and this is something which Black Mesa has been a little bit criticised for, the loading times. It doesn't load very often, but when it does, it takes an absolute age. So we're just going to wait for the menu to load up here, and I'm just going to go into the settings quickly and show you what it's all about. You can probably go and make yourself a cup of coffee. And here we go, so we can see it's loaded. So what we're going to do on here, I'm just going to go into the options, and I'm going to go to video options. So at the moment I've got it at 1280 by 800, which is actually the second lowest resolution that this monitor will go at. Then I'm going to go into advanced, so I've got high, very high, 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 water detail reflect world only. I haven't got anti-aliasing turned on. Motion blur is enabled, and high dynamic range is full. Filtering mode is only at trilinear, but you could have atmospheric if you want to, and vertical sync is enabled. So I'm just going to go back to the menu here, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to just load a previous game. I'm actually going to see if, okay, let's go in here, let's see actually if I pick, okay, let's pick a new level here. So I'm going to just start off from the very beginning, not the very beginning, the tram ride, because that can be a little bit boring, but I'm going to start the second level where you enter Sector C for the first time. Xbox.
Morning, Mr. Freeman.
Okay.
Looks like you're running late.
Okay, so as you can see, I've got my my joystick enabled just here, and I can walk about as if it was an Xbox controller. So I'm not sure if you can get a kind of left-handed on the graphics here. I might just zoom in a tiny little bit to the display.
Must have finally caught up to me.
Now, the graphics on this are absolutely amazing. If you've ever played the original Half-Life, you kind of get an idea of what's going on. So I'm just going to go through here.
Oh man, you cut the ponytail.
I did in fact cut the ponytail. So graphics are good, as you can see. Very good motion blur, very subtle. But if you've been used to playing the original game,
Hey, Mr.
this will give you goosebumps as it did me when I walked in here. Seeing this scene for the first time remade in all of its glory. If you're a fan of the original Half-Life, you will absolutely love this. Pretty much the voice and the dialogue is identical as well, as you'll probably hear when you play the game yourself. And essentially what they've done is not only just remade the game as you see it here, but they've also introduced new elements. They've completely redone all of the characters, as you can see here, pretty detailed, using the Source engine. But you can also notice that areas like this weren't on the original game, mostly for graphical performance and things like that. So it's really nice to see some of these additions. Now, of course, at the moment, I haven't got my special suit on yet, so I can't run very fast.
Hold it right there, Mr. Freeman. I got explicit orders not to let you through without your hazard suit on.
Okay, so that tells me I need to go and get my hazard suit. So let's just walk around here again. So as you can see, the Xbox controller working pretty well here. If you notice, there is a slight, very slight perception of lag, whether that's the computer or the process of porting the controllers over. I'm not entirely sure, but it's nothing major that's going to hinder your performance in the game. So as you can see here, it's performing quite well on my Mac, 2-year-old Mac. The graphics nearly full, but it's performing quite well. Stuff like this has been massively improved. I mean, look at the graphics on that, it's so good, it almost looks real, and it's massively different from the original Half-Life. Okay, and you saw a slight little freeze there, so we're just going to press the button there. There's my HEV suit. So as you can see, the music is pretty good too. Let me just turn this up a second. Of course, now that I've got my HEV suit, I can do things like run, I can do things like zoom. So let's go ahead and run down here.
Right on through, sir. Looks like you're in the barrel today. Reactor conflict. Gordon Freeman.
So, I think in general, just kind of to wrap up, I'll just first of all talk about this. So this controller definitely does its job in terms of making the controllers work pretty seamlessly from an Xbox experience over to the Windows experience. A little bit of kind of, I'm going to call it hacking even though it's really not, a little bit of kind of engineering to make it work with some games like Half-Life for example, because it doesn't natively work with some of the Source games, but it does work with a lot of games for Windows, which is great. And then looking at Half-Life, enough can't be said, I think, about this port that they've put over. It's been kind of years in the making, and I think the experience in total is as true to the original Half-Life as you can probably get, with the world, the people, the situations, and the graphics especially. It's amazing to see. And if you're a fan of original Half-Life and you've got a Windows machine, you've got a Steam account, I strongly suggest you pick this up and give it a play, because it will not only just bring back memories, but it's almost like playing an entirely new game. So it's definitely worth it. So this is Barry from Copper vs Glass, and I will catch you guys later.
Bit of a gamble.
administrator is very concerned that we get a conclusive analysis of today's sample. I gather he went to some lengths to get it.
They're waiting for you, Gordon. The test chamber.
Right. Come on then. I'll walk you down. Eli has been busy making last-minute preparations for the new experiment. Greetings, Eli.
Morning, Izzy.
I trust this morning finds you well.
Gordon, good morning. I'm glad you're here. These last-minute changes, they're a bit strange. Just, oh, it's about to go critical.
What in the blazes is going on with our equipment?
It was never meant to do this in the first place.
It's nothing we can't handle ourselves, Eli. Run along, Gordon. We'll be but a moment.